Even the beautiful game can turn horribly ugly. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down the top 10 tragedies in football. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're only looking at tragedies involving British football clubs and players, even if some of the tragedies didn't happen on British soil. Number 10. Leicester City helicopter crash. It was well known to local fans that Leicester City owner Vichai Srinivasapratha liked to travel to and from matches by helicopter, but this routine took a turn for the worst in October 2018. Just minutes after takeoff, the control linkage to the tail rotor broke, leaving the helicopter spinning uncontrollably. It then crashed in the stadium car park and burst into flames, killing the pilot and his 4 passengers, including Vichai. While tragic enough on its own, it also brought back painful memories of Chelsea Vice Chairman Matthew Harding's death in 1996 when his helicopter also crashed. Number 9. The death of Jock Stein. When Scottish winger Davy Cooper came on as a sub and scored a penalty with only 9 minutes left in this World Cup qualifying match against Wales in 1985, nobody could have predicted the ensuing tragedy. Veteran football manager and Scottish legend Big Jock Stein collapsed right as Scotland secured a World Cup playoff round against Australia, dying in the stadium soon after the end of the match. Aged just 62, his death cut short Scotland's victory celebrations, sending the country into a period of national mourning. One Scottish supporter was even quoted on TV as saying they'd rather be out of the World Cup and have Big Jock back. Number 8. Emiliano Sala's plane vanishes. On the 21st of January 2019, news broke that newly signed Cardiff City player Emiliano Sala had disappeared while flying near Alderney. His plane went down over the English Channel while travelling from Nantes, France to Cardiff. While in the air, he sent a message to his friends via WhatsApp saying the plane felt like it's falling to pieces, and that they'd know what happened if an hour and a half had passed without news. The plane wreckage was discovered in the Channel in early February, and Sala's body was found on February 7th. Number 7. The death of Marc-Vivien Foé. Known in England through playing for Manchester City and West Ham, Foé was playing for his home country of Cameroon in 2003 when he collapsed on the pitch during their FIFA Confederations Cup semi-final match against Colombia. Foé died after being stretchered off the pitch when attempts to resuscitate him failed. Aged only 28, he died of a hereditary heart condition which increases risk of sudden death. More recently, Scottish player Phil O'Donnell also died on the pitch of heart failure in late 2007. Before that, in 1936, Sunderland golden boy Jimmy Thorpe died just days after being surrounded and kicked at by Chelsea players mid-match. Number 6. Burnden Park disaster. At the time, this was Britain's deadliest stadium disaster, when 33 people died in a stampede at this 1946 FA Cup match between Bolton Wanderers and Stoke City. Bolton's home ground, Burnden Park, initially had around 65,000 in attendance for the match. However, an additional 20,000 forced their way in, creating a crowd of at least 85,000. It's thought that fans desperate to attend got into the stadium's embankment and broke down barriers and climbed over fences, leading to dangerous overcrowding. Those killed in the crush were laying along the touchline, and the match eventually resumed despite the circumstances. Number 5. Heysel Stadium disaster. The 1985 European Cup final in Belgium shook Europe to its core, as 39 people lost their lives. It was Liverpool versus Italian heavyweight Juventus, and the incident was so harrowing it led to all English clubs being banned by UEFA from European competition until 1990. With tensions between fans rising, a group of Liverpool supporters crossed into a terrace of Juventus fans an hour before kickoff. Fighting and rioting broke out, though it's never been confirmed which side started the violence, and many supporters were crushed to death against a concrete wall until it collapsed. Number 4. The second Ibrox disaster. The first Ibrox disaster happened at the same Glaswegian ground in 1902, when a stadium collapse caused 25 deaths. But the second, in 1971, killed more than twice as many. Despite worries about the safety of the now infamous Stairway 13 for years prior to the disaster, after dozens of other injuries and at least 2 deaths, the staircase reached its breaking point in 1971. During a Rangers vs Celtic match, 66 Rangers supporters were crushed to death while attempting to leave the stadium, including numerous children, the youngest of which being only 9 years old. Number 3. Bradford City fire disaster. New regulations make stadiums much safer now, but the old Bradford City grounds were home to some rickety wooden stands. As well as the wood, decades worth of rubbish was piling up underneath them. It's believed that a spectator dropped a cigarette butt between the gaps in the stands, leading to a devastating fire breaking out and engulfing the crowd in 1985. 56 people lost their lives despite fire engines reaching the blaze only 4 minutes after being called. The disaster would lead to legislation being put in place, causing new wooden grandstands to be banned in the UK. Number 2. Munich Air Disaster. The darkest day in Manchester United's history was February 6, 1958, when their famed Busby Babes were involved in a plane accident. The plane crashed in Munich, Germany after slush on the runway created dangerous conditions during takeoff. 23 of the 44 people on board lost their lives, including 8 players from United's first team, and there are multiple memorials to the tragedy at Old Trafford. It's not the only fatal plane crash to hit football either. In 2016, a plane carrying Brazilian team Chapecoense crashed in Colombia. Only 6 of the 77 people on board survived. Number 1. Hillsborough Stadium Disaster. Football stadiums used to have large standing pens, but that changed when these pens led to mass deaths in the 1989 Hillsborough disaster. The central pens became overcrowded due to police opening additional gates and not properly monitoring how many people were waiting outside the stadium, or how crowded the central pens already were, leading to thousands of fans piling up. The ensuing chaos led to a fatal crush and the deaths of 96 Liverpool supporters, and injuries of another 766 fans. An inquest in 2016 ruled that gross police negligence was to blame for this horrendous tragedy, and Police Chief Superintendent David Duckenfield is currently on trial with 95 counts of manslaughter 30 years after the disaster. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.